Imagine standing in a place where more than 70,000 people live inside just 1 square mile. That's not a festival, not a concert, not even a stadium. That's just daily life in one of America's most crowded cities. In these cities, apartments are stacked like Lego blocks, sidewalks feel like moving rivers of people, and finding a parking spot can feel harder than winning the lottery. But here's the crazy part. Some of the most crowded cities in America are also the most desirable places to live. So today, we're counting down the most crowded cities in America, and by the end of this video, you'll discover the city where people live almost shoulder to shoulder, the place where tiny apartments cost millions, and the one most crowded city in the United States. And trust me, number 1 will absolutely surprise you. But before we start, quick challenge. If you enjoy videos about cities, population, and urban life, hit the subscribe button and join the channel. Because every week, we break down the most fascinating cities in America. All right, let's start the countdown. So let's begin with number 10. 10. San Francisco, California. San Francisco is famous for its tech companies, steep streets, and colorful Victorian houses. But it's also one of the most crowded cities in America. Despite being only about 47 square miles, nearly 900,000 people live here. That's around 18,000 people per square mile. Now that might not sound extreme yet, but here's the twist. Much of San Francisco is water, hills, or parks, which means the areas people actually live in are much denser. Apartments here are stacked high, and housing prices are among the most expensive in the world. A small apartment can easily cost over $1 million. So why do people still move here? Simple. Tech. San Francisco sits next to Silicon Valley, the global center of the technology industry. High salaries pull people in, and the city keeps getting denser. But compared to the next city, San Francisco feels spacious. 9. Chicago, Illinois. Chicago might look huge on the map, but large cities can still be incredibly dense. Chicago has nearly 2.7 million residents, making it one of the largest cities in the United States. Inside its urban core, population density climbs to about 12,000 people per square mile. Massive apartment towers line Lake Michigan, and neighborhoods stretch mile after mile. Chicago grew rapidly during the industrial boom of the early 1900s. Factories, railroads, and shipping brought millions of workers to the city. And once infrastructure was built, subways, trains, and buses, density followed. But Chicago is still nothing compared to what's coming later in this list. Because some cities are 3, even 4 times denser. 8. Boston, Massachusetts. Boston is one of the oldest cities in the United States. And when cities grow before cars existed, something interesting happens. They grow compact. Boston streets are narrow. Buildings are close together. Neighborhoods are tightly packed. That pushes density up to about 14,000 people per square mile. But here's something unique about Boston. Students. The city hosts over 250,000 college students from universities like Harvard, MIT, and Boston University. Students need housing. And when thousands of students move into a small historic city, density rises quickly. But Boston still isn't close to the top 5. And the next city is where things start getting really crowded. 7. Miami, Florida. Miami is famous for beaches, nightlife, and warm weather. But what most people don't realize is that Miami is extremely dense. The city has over 12,000 people per square mile. And the reason is vertical living. Instead of expanding outward, Miami builds upward. Luxury skyscrapers line the coastline. Thousands of residents live in towers overlooking the ocean. This creates neighborhoods where tens of thousands of people live inside a few city blocks. But Miami's density still isn't enough to reach the top 5. And the next cities are about to get much tighter. 6. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Philadelphia is another historic American city built long before modern highways. Row houses stretch across entire neighborhoods, block after block of tightly packed homes. The result? About 12,000 residents per square mile. But density spikes even higher in downtown areas. Philadelphia's compact layout makes walking common. Many residents don't even own cars. But now we are entering the top 5 most crowded cities in America. And the next one might shock you. 5. Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles is often thought of as a sprawling city. Endless suburbs, freeways everywhere. But here's something surprising. Certain areas of Los Angeles are extremely dense. The city overall averages about 8,500 people per square mile, but neighborhoods like Koreatown can reach over 40,000 people per square mile. That's denser than many famous global cities. High immigration, apartments, and limited housing space all contribute to this. But even Los Angeles isn't close to the crazy density of the top 3. And this is where the list gets truly intense. 4. San Jose, California. San Jose sits in the heart of Silicon Valley. Tech workers from companies like Apple, Google, and Nvidia live here. And when high salaries meet limited land, housing stacks upward. San Jose now has density levels around 20,000 people per square mile in urban zones. But the next cities are in a completely different league, because these places feel more like human beehives. 3. New York City, New York. No surprise here. New York City is legendary for density. More than 8.5 million people live in the city. And Manhattan alone reaches densities of over 70,000 people per square mile. Skyscrapers allow thousands of residents to live inside a single building. Subways carry millions daily. Sidewalks stay packed from morning until midnight. But here's the twist. New York is not the most crowded city in America. 2 smaller cities actually beat it. 2. West New York, New Jersey. Just across the Hudson River sits a small city called West New York. Most Americans have never heard of it, but it's incredibly crowded. Over 60,000 people live in just 1 square mile. That means nearly everyone lives in apartment buildings. Streets are narrow, housing is tightly packed, and space is extremely limited. Yet there's still one city that's even denser, and it's only a few miles away. 1. Guttenberg, New Jersey. The most crowded city in America is Guttenberg, New Jersey. This tiny town has fewer than 12,000 residents. But here's the shocking part. The entire town is less than 1/4 of a square mile, which means density skyrockets to over 70,000 people per square mile. That makes Guttenberg one of the most densely populated places in the entire Western Hemisphere. Apartment buildings dominate the landscape. Nearly every resident lives in multi-story housing, and space is incredibly limited. It's essentially a vertical neighborhood packed into a tiny area. Why people still move to crowded cities? Here's the fascinating thing. Even when cities become crowded, people keep moving there. Why? Opportunity. Cities concentrate jobs, universities, hospitals, and businesses. They also create culture, restaurants, events, innovation. Crowded cities are often economic engines. In other words, density can actually be a sign of success. So next time you walk through a packed city street, remember this. You might be standing in one of the most densely populated places in America. But the real question is, as cities keep growing, will density continue increasing? Or will people start leaving crowded cities for quieter places? Because in our next video, we're exploring something equally fascinating. Why millions of Americans are leaving some of the biggest cities in the country. And the reasons might surprise you. So if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into America's cities, population trends, and urban secrets. And I'll see you in the next one.